Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Shoeless. I'm today's host, Toby, and today I'm joined by two of my closest friends and business partners, Joe and Nick. The idea behind this podcast is simple: shoes off, walls down, and conversations that are as real as they come. We'll cover everything from business to life itself to unexpected stories that help shape us along the way. Whether you're here for inspiration or just want to have a chat, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. This is Shoeless. So, starting off, I wanted to kick things off and just sort of set a bit of story about you both and sort of give a bit of background. So, Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about your employment history and your journey in the tech world in becoming employee number 3 in a sports simulator company and how that journey's progressed over the years?
Yeah, thanks for that introduction, Tobe. Hi everyone. I'm Joseph, and one of the co-founders in our current business portfolio. But it's been a long journey to kind of get to this stage. I, like anybody else, went to primary school and then secondary school, and then from there I decided that I wanted to go to Cardiff Cardiff Met actually to do a psychology degree, which is where we all met. And
Many moons ago.
One of the things that university taught me, I think, ultimately was to just to work hard.
Yeah.
I actually, in my first year, I was I think I just passed actually. I got 40% in my first year. And in the second and third years, I had to really book my ideas up if I was going to actually get a decent grade. So, I did that and kind of sort of turned it around at university, really. I think psychology wasn't something that I was massively interested in. And I think going to uni to do psychology actually taught me that I didn't want to do psychology, was really the summary of that. Turned it around. I actually won an award at uni for the most improved student across the degree program.
Did you? I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Well done, mate.
It's on my LinkedIn. It's not actually. It's got a fancier title than that. It's something like the award for bachelorette degree significant improvement across the degree program, I think was the title of it. So I think the main lesson from that really was just kind of learning to work hard.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went to work in a wine bar in London for a year while I tried to figure out what I wanted to do, which was a really fun experience. I met some really interesting and amazing people. It was quite a nice wine bar in Oxford Circus in central London. So obviously quite an esteemed clientele.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, from there, I actually got approached by a childhood friend of mine, a guy called Jack, who'd got a job at a sports tech company called Batfast. He was the fourth employee in the business, but not third. I was actually fifth. Not third.
Sorry, that's
close enough.
That's poor research on my part there. Sorry, I'll change that to number 5 now.
He was the fourth employee and I was the fifth. He asked me to come join and I started work on kind of a part-time basis. They at the time were obviously a team of 5 people. They had the 2 founders, 2 absolutely amazing individuals, which been an inspiration for me, definitely across the many years I worked for them. We started out taking simulators up and down the country to like fan zone events. So we would put it in the back of a trailer, take it out for the day, drive to Surrey or Durham from Nottingham, which is where we were based, put these simulators up in T20 fan zones or even things like birthday parties. We would go and do kind of small scale events as well. And then from there, just kind of grew into the role. I was actually made. I was given a full-time contract to start working in sales. And predominantly, I think for the early years, my role was to do outbound selling. So ringing up as many people as I could on a day-to-day basis, a lot of messaging on LinkedIn and a few other channels like that to try and drum up leads for the business. We had some kind of preliminary ideas about where the company wanted to go. So in sort of training or entertainment. So reaching out to a lot of like bars and restaurants, holiday parks, theme parks, those sorts of businesses for, I think, a good year. I did that and just compiled lists and just was reaching out to as many people as I possibly could. And I think my mindset actually then started to shift a little bit, because I could see that the more meetings and sort of low-level grunt work that I did, the more experience and growth and development I was going to get from being on calls with people. Because the people I was booking meetings with were business owners, chief marketing, chief sales, chief commercial, chief operations, CEOs.
Yeah.
And so I kind of had that the drive in me was to get as many of these meetings so I can kind of meet as many of these people as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And that's kind of I think really when I sort of realized that, it shaped my mindset and made me want to work hard, made me want to continue to push on and also make an impact for the company.
Yeah. And what's the sort of sense of self-achievement when you close a deal, and how does that make you feel? And I've personally seen all the different stages of a deal, and from a lead to coming through, and when you actually get that across the line, how does that make you feel?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, the feeling of kind of that process coming to an end, and actually closing a client is fantastic. And I've been, lucky enough to close some pretty big deals in terms of the simulator business with clients like Center Parcs, Haven Holidays, a few other kind of big publicly listed businesses in there. Butlins is another one, and so yeah, really feels amazing. Yeah, it's great.
Cool. And then into the present day, what's your sort of current situation?
Wow. That's a difficult one to answer.
Yeah.
Well,
busy.
Very busy. So I actually went part-time for Batfast about a year ago, roughly. About 6 months ago, actually. And I always had this vision that I wanted to own my own business. As you know, we all own a business together.
Yeah.
And that started initially in the tanning business and TikTok business. But now obviously we're growing into building software. We're growing into supplements, lifestyle supplements, performance supplements. We're obviously doing this podcast, which is another thing. So I think if I was to describe what we do or what I do at the moment, I'd say it's much more. It's very exciting day to day. We have so many different projects that we're working on and meeting so many new people, and building and growing brands and businesses is really what I think we're in the business of now. And using our success that we've had on TikTok and through e-commerce to really drive all of these different avenues forward is where I'd say that we're kind of moving to at the moment.
Yeah. And just one more question before I move on to Nick. What would you say your current biggest challenge is within the business?
I think the biggest challenge for me is a lot of these brands and businesses that we're building do require a face of the business, someone that's going to kind of own the content and be that reliable, authentic person that people can kind of identify with and buy into.
Yeah.
And finding that for, I think we trialed a fake tan brand that we still have at the moment. But I think given the fact that we weren't able to leverage our own sort of personal profiles and we didn't feel that we were the right fit for that, I think was probably some learnings that we can take away from that. And so, all of the things that we're going into now, I think I personally feel a lot more comfortable that I can put my name and my face to that, and it is something that's relatable to me and I benefit from. So it does feel like, I'm able to do that, and we have learnt from those mistakes where...
chip in there, just with the lack of control by not being able to be that face is very frustrating at times, because you're always having to rely on other people to do it for you. And I think, we as a collective have felt that with specifically the fake tan. I think we've felt it across a lot of things, but specifically the fake tan is we can't just pick up the product and go, well, I'll do it then, because it doesn't work.
Because we're not fake tanners. Surprise.
So that's, I think overall just condensing that into one thing, which is if you are going to start a business, and I think I've heard so many people say this, but it is so true, do it in something that you're passionate about, because A, it's going to drive you, and B, in today's world where people want to know who they're buying from, they want to know, the reasons for why you started a business, or the reasons for why you sell something. It is so important to be able to back yourself and fulfill on that kind of promise to the consumer.
Perfect. Thanks, Joe. And moving on to you a bit more, Nick. I know Joe's spoken for probably the first 10 minutes of the podcast. So, why don't you give us a similar bit of synopsis about your background in tech and sort of your journey as self-employed through the years? And why don't you start off with that?
I'll start right at my beginning of my employment history.
Please do, mate. Because
So
I know
13, 2 paper rounds. So when I was 13, had a couple of paper rounds. When I was 15, I started working in a butcher's. Rob the Butchers, Mills Butchers, shout out Mills Butchers. Cleaning the fridge on a Saturday and doing some as well. Next thing.
Sorry, just quickly, it was Rob the Butcher. You didn't rob the butchers.
No, I didn't rob the butchers. Look at me with all the mistakes.
a few sausage rolls.
So went from that. So then when I was 18, I actually I'd done my A-levels and had got some okay-ish grades, and found that out when I was on holiday in Turkey, living the life. Maxing out my credit card at 18.
Was that a family holiday or?
No, that was with a couple of the lads that I was at sixth form with.
Yeah.
And maxed out my credit card on that holiday. Got offered a place at Plymouth Uni to do electrical engineering.
Yeah.
Turned it down to do door-to-door sales, selling solar panels, installation, scratch cards, door-to-door.
Yeah. How did you get on there?
Yeah, actually really good. I've built a team of I don't know exactly how many people it was, because it was quite a high turnover of staff. But built a team and became like a crew manager. So probably had at the most probably 30, but the minimum probably 12 people below me, teaching them how to do door-to-door sales, and doing actually quite well for an 18-year-old at that time, financially, because it was 100% commission based.
Yeah,
was doing quite well at that. But after a year, gave that up, because as much as the money was great, sometimes it was very long days, long hours in order to do it, and probably hadn't got as far as I wanted to in the year. So stopped doing that. Got back into the gym. I say got back into, this was my real first stint at the gym. Absolutely loved going to the gym. Always had a sporty background. So decided to do a personal training course while I was working at the local golf club. As I was doing that, I thought, this is how we met. I thought, I'm quite into this sports stuff. I think I can make a bit of a run at it. So decided to apply to Cardiff Met to do a sports nutrition, sports biomedicine and nutrition degree. And got in there. So after a year, went to Cardiff. Started doing the sports. Well, I did a foundation leading to sports biomedicine and nutrition, because my A-levels are in physics, maths and business. But I needed either biology or chemistry. You had to have one of the two for this course. So, or you could do a foundation year. So I did the foundation year, and did that. Went back the next year for the first year, and then decided that I didn't want to continue. I didn't like writing involved. I'm much more of a doer than writing. So dropped out and worked at the local nightclubs, where I had already made a bit of a reputation for myself. Doing event promotion and street promotion. In fairness, the street promotion I was doing for the nightclubs, the door-to-door sales skills really helped me with that.
Yeah.
Did the nightclub promotion for a significant stint of time, and did anything from the street promotion to running the social media accounts and whatnot, which was a skill that you learn.
Yeah.
This was. This was 10 years ago.
10 plus years ago.
This is managing Facebook at the time,
right.
And Instagram was probably just coming onto the scene.
Yeah.
And there was no TikTok.
Yeah.
So doing that, and then event managing, I jumped between a couple of different companies, and then went to actually work for a startup doing sales, funnily enough, letting agents to sign up to an online tech platform, a bit like Rightmove, but for students, called University Cribs.
I think that's when we met, wasn't it? When you were doing that?
I don't think so. We'd
Just
met
before.
Yeah. Before that. Yeah, I've got a photo of us at X-Fest together, mate.
Yeah, that's on my Instagram.
That was
I might need to come down.
Yeah, that was first year of Cardiff. Yeah. So, there's a funny story. I'll talk to you about it later on. But there's a funny story about it. Anyway, where was I? So
you'd just gone to University Cribs at this point.
That's right.
So carry on from there.
Thanks. Yeah. So that ended up not working out and whatnot, and temporarily got a job as a mortgage broker for about a month. But while I was there, I was just like, one day I was like, I don't really want to do this job. And I'd learned so much skills from, sales role at this startup and social media stuff from the events and being self-employed through the door-to-door stuff, that one day I just rang up the company that I was working for and went, I'm not going to come in, I'm starting my own business. And that was it. So that was when I was probably 22.
Yeah.
23, something like that. And funnily enough, funny how the world comes back around, my first client was Mills Butchers, which who I used to clean the fridge of. And he was actually the one that sort of said, can you help me out on social media? And I was like, yeah, sure. So started doing that, built up a social media sort of agency when I was 23-ish, I think. And onboarded a load of clients, and up until throughout COVID was doing that. So I'm going to pause there and let you ask me any follow-up questions.
Yes, I've got a couple.
Come back to the bits that come after that.
Yeah, so you mentioned quite a lot about your interest in sport and the gym there, and I just wondered what are sort of the biggest takeaways that you have from participating in sport, because we all train and go to the gym now and have all done sport throughout our lives. But what are the big key takeaways for you in being involved in sport?
Yeah, so I think one thing that I've noticed with my life is that whenever I'm doing some kind of sporting activity as a hobby or whatnot, everything else in my life is better. And I'm not quite sure why that is, but I think it's to do with, endorphins, hormones, all of that stuff. Getting out of the house, but also working towards something that isn't perhaps, not necessarily financial, but you're working on, yourself, your body, your mentality, all of those things, and all of that helps my life, astronomically.
Yeah.
And every time I've been in a bit of a slump throughout my life, it's probably I haven't been in a sporting activity, going to the gym regularly, things like that. It's always been, at moments when I haven't been doing those things. So that's probably the biggest thing, is that I, always notice if I'm not doing sport that my mood drops, my motivation kind of drops, my attitude towards things drops, and my self-perception probably drops as well, because I'm not continually growing and beating.
Almost yourself, and we might leave that one out. That's really interesting. Would you also say the reverse of that? So if you're, do you think there's a limit where when you're at your best, are you like the top of your physical performance as well, or is there a middle ground where you're active and progressing and also the best? Where do you think that sort of balance sits?
So what I notice the most is that everything comes in waves.
Yeah.
Right. And I've noticed this throughout my life, is that everything comes in waves. So I can be going to, at the moment, I'm not at the bottom of a dip, but I'm probably not at my optimum peak of fitness and things.
Peaks and troughs.
There's peaks and troughs. But the continuation of doing it is what matters.
Yeah.
But you're not always going to feel great about doing it. And sometimes you're not going to be running your PB. And but then what you're doing, a little bit like with our company, is you're setting yourself up for success whenever the opportunity arises. So perhaps when it comes to summer and the weather's a little bit nicer and you're perhaps doing a bit more running or out and about a little bit more, suddenly you notice your performance might be going up because you're naturally doing all these other things like that. So I guess what was the spirit of your question there?
The spirit of my question was, do you think there's a limit where it actually becomes like you're doing too much, or is there a balance there, or that trajectory that you're talking about? Do you think when you've been most active in your life, that's when the highest highs have come, or is there a balance in the middle somewhere? Because you're talking about the slumps and the highs.
No, the highest highs have come when I've been the most active.
Yeah.
To be brutally honest, yeah.
How many hours a day is that though? Because obviously, I'm just trying to look at it in terms of this co-trend, if you like, where your activity is going up and your performance is going up. Mm-hmm. I mean, you may not have reached it, but is there a cap where
you don't look like you've reached your peak, mate?
No, but I was trying to think there is a cap, right? So if your training gets to 4 or 5 hours a day, the time you have for your business then obviously decreases as well, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you're training for a marathon, people run for hours and hours a week, just to train for that. So, no, you may not have kind of got to that stage, but you think there is like a cap?
I mean, I'm sure there will be. If you're training for 12 hours a day and you do nothing else, I'm sure there is.
You're an Olympian at that point.
I think I'll position it here is that as a non-competitive athlete, is what I consider myself, is that I am an athletic person, but I don't compete, so I don't have the need to do that.
Yeah.
I do it to the point of what is my best output with the time that I have. I think is probably the best way that I can phrase that.
Yeah. Okay, and then we sort of broke in the middle just after university cribs. So do you want to carry on with sort of the next bit?
No, so that was when I went self-employed.
Yeah. So sorry, I missed a little bit there.
Self-employed. So I onboarded a variety of clients and had varying levels of success, but had particularly a lot of success in the gaming computer industry, and actually still am involved in the gaming computer industry and the advertisement world there, and festivals and events I was still involved in through having some contacts the event stuff previously, and had some good success there as well. So that day all went well. I had some probably not so successful clients as well. I remember actually having an osteopath, and at the time I onboarded them, I don't think I ever knew what an osteopath was. So there was very much a learning thing. And I think that comes down to a little bit like you were saying earlier, is do something that you're passionate about. If you've got an agency or something, if there's a client and you genuinely don't know a lot about it, is really hard. And you've got to, if there's a skill gap or a knowledge gap, you've got to learn that to market an osteopath when you don't really know what it is yourself is very difficult.
And would you look back at that and say it's a mistake to go and...
Well, at the time, no, because I needed the money. So at the time, I had to onboard the client to try and get the money. But the thing is, what it did allow, it wasn't serious amounts of money. So I was ripping them off or anything. It was a very small nominal fee. But it gave me the thing of you can learn from this. I had to go and learn a little bit about osteopathy, and now I actually have an osteopath I go and see regularly.
Is it the same guy?
It's not the same guy, no. But also it gave me the chance to have a go at trying something that I hadn't done before, and making content for them and stuff like that, and it was challenging. But that essentially became my my role was self-employed, building this agency, and then after that, just as COVID was finishing, so I had a lot of success during COVID. Purely because, as I mentioned, in the gaming computer space, everyone was at home. So I had one particular client that really ramped up a lot of spend to the point where they literally could not cope with capacity and actually got bought out.
Sorry, when you say spend, you mean on paid ads and media?
So I was doing a lot of Facebook ads, Instagram ads, stuff like that, and ramped that up to the point where they could not do anymore, and they had an amazing run throughout COVID. Got bought out just at the end of it, really at their peak, and I don't know anymore, but they have done very well for themselves at that time. But just as COVID was ending, actually, I got approached by an opportunity back involved with nightclubs. To look after the digital for 50 nightclubs in the UK. And took that opportunity as well. So that was like a part-time role as head of digital, but it later progressed to sort of head of marketing technology across the UK. And this was a Danish company, so Denmark, Norway and Finland,
Yeah.
and was helping them build technology within their custom like CRM system.
Yeah.
And was doing that alongside all of their paid ads and whatnot, teaching, training the teams how to manage the paid ads and stuff like that. So did that. But the nightclub industry
took a turn.
Well, after COVID, it's never actually returned. It's quite sad, really, what's happened to the nightlife industry in the UK. But ultimately, nowadays, the average 18 to 21-year-old spends 2 hours on TikTok a day. 15 years ago, they didn't do that. They were spending that out and about. So, yeah, the nightclub industry has changed, and that company had to make some cuts and whatnot, and went into administration. And, yeah, which meant there was no longer a role for me. But funnily enough, that happened just at the exact moment that we launched.
Yeah, it did.
And then the rest is history. So I'll stop there again.
Yeah.
And sort of perhaps let you maybe ask Joe about the next bit if we're coming on to Megatown. Or whatever you're...
so we kind of got to the end of this segment. I'll let Joe take the story from there, sort of the start of our business and how it sort of grew and some of the growth platforms and things that we went into and what we've experienced from there, and we can sort of get into it.
Yeah, sure. I think while I was working at Batfast, I always had this kind of vision that I wanted to own my own business. And Nick and I always used to kind of bounce ideas off of each other about different things we could try, different businesses we could set up. And I think this probably went on for about a good year or so, would you say, before we launched the business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, kind of one day Nick came to me and said, "Look, I've got this idea. I want to open a salon in Birmingham in the jewellery quarter." And I think at this point it was coming to the end of the financial year for me in terms of the business that I was at, and we kind of just decided that this is what we were going to do. And then when we started it, I remember there was weekdays where I would finish work at 5 o'clock and come home. I'd be on a call with Nick for like 2 hours. We'd be running through Trello boards and building a business plan. We approached UK Startup Loans for a business plan template. And every evening for about 2 months, I think there was like 6 hours work where we would work from 5 till 1 in the morning on this plan, getting it ready to submit. And so we did that, and we were granted some funding. We got the maximum amount available per director through the business plan, and did a lot of market research. We were doing things like location data, looking at the population data in the area that we were going to launch in, building out, finding supplier relations for all of the things that we were going to need to put into the salon, and then looking at kind of a go-to-market, a launch strategy, a launch plan. Yeah. And kind of putting everything into this template. And I think just before we actually got approved for the cash, we bought yourself on.
Yeah.
So obviously we came to you and approached you with
you did.
With
the
this plan.
Phone rang. It was actually Joe that rang. I was in my mum's kitchen of all places, and Joe's phone rang and he said, "I've got this idea with Nick." I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's a sunbed salon in Birmingham." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then sort of sent all the information across, and quickly became involved after seeing the level of work that had gone into it and the idea and sort of the passion behind it. I quickly became involved.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that was, testament to the work that we'd been putting in, that, you wanted to come on and invest, which really helped the kind of, the launch of the business at that stage. I think if we hadn't got some extra capital, we might have been in a bit of a sticky situation for a few months, but luckily then things started to go really well. So we launched a Shopify website. Spent, again, I think this was a continued level of 6-7 hours a day on top of our 9-to-5 jobs, where we would sit in Nick's I don't want to say basement. It was actually quite a nice flat.
It was a really nice flat. It's expensive, that flat as well, wasn't it?
Nice expensive flat that we sat in. Freezing cold though, so you have to get all the heaters on.
Yeah.
All of this work happened throughout the winter, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Weekends. Yeah. It was
go outside to go use the toilet.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, whoa, close the door. It's
Close the
freezing.
door.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because you only had the
Yeah.
electric heater in one room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was almost. Well, I think it was ChatGPT 2, wasn't it? ChatGPT
no, something like that. ChatGPT 3.
3. That we were using to leverage, all of our product uploads, product descriptions to really kind of streamline that process. And I think it helped us get there quickly, but it was still, a lot of hours.
There used to be
managing it.
usage limits. Remember, we would all stop when we were doing 30 products, and you used to say, "I need 24 hours to reset. We're doing too much here."
Right, yeah.
But that was the core sort of foundation of building the website, adding all of the products to the website, getting that set up.
Sorry, that's so funny because that is like such an old thing. It's like talking about, when you hear your parents go, "Oh, I used to listen to it on the radio and have cassettes."
Yeah.
Do you remember when ChatGPT used to limit our usage on ChatGPT?
Yeah.
It feels like such a long time we talk talk about that.
And in reality,
it was like 2 years ago.
2.5 years ago. It's
It shows you how fast everything's moving, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
So we built the website, sold a couple of products in our first few months. I think we'd done about 40 quid a month or something. And then
it got up to £200-300 a month.
did it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I can see it on that. I saw it the other day on our stats.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
it compares 2024 last year and then 2023, and it's like October 2023, £323.
Yeah,
Like,
just an interesting snippet for you all. And actually, we're filming this podcast on a Wednesday, but this Sunday is the 2-year anniversary of selling our first product ever.
ooh.
You've always got that one in your mind.
Yeah.
Maybe your mind was last year.
I
Yeah.
think it's something to do with your sister's birthday. This.
No, it's my sister's wedding next year.
Sister's
So
wedding, that's right,
it's saved in the calendar on my thing. So, and I got a text about my sister's wedding, so it reminded me. The flights came out for next year for my sister's wedding. So she was quick on, everyone book. And I was like, it's 2 years. So,
Nice.
Anyway, sorry, Joe, carry on.
That's
And,
all right, mate. So then we started a TikTok shop. We'd seen some other people online were selling some of the products that we could stock, and quick bit of research. Obviously, all of the sales on TikTok shop are publicly visible, so you can kind of see what people are selling at, see the numbers, and I think we kind of had I remember there was a bit of a moment where we were like, we can do this, and we can do it better. So that's what we did. And I think in our first month, we sold, I think I don't actually remember what the first month's revenue on TikTok was, but I think it was maybe a couple of £100 or 1,000, maybe even a couple of £1,000.
Yeah. Well, we started right at the end of February, didn't we? So it was a few days, and then in March it exploded.
Yeah.
I think it might have started at the end of March. So we didn't have much in Feb. Started towards the end of March, and we'd done like ridiculous amounts of money within the last 2 weeks of March.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was tens of thousands of pounds in a couple of weeks. And we were just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
There was moments where we were sat down, and I think none of us quite expected it to pop off as much as it did. And by the way, this came because we set up such an incredible structure for this to actually happen.
Yeah.
But I don't think we quite expected it to pop to the level that it did. And we were sat down at dinner, and we had our notifications coming through, going, done another one. We go, what is it? Oh, there you go. Oh, just done another one. What was it? They've ordered 2. And that was kind of it then.
Yeah. I think
there was a big period where that happened, and then it was like, right, now we've got to actually deliver it.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. And I think that there's a good takeaway from there, Nick, is we sort of put ourselves in a position to be lucky on the platform. We did all the hard work and all the bits that people didn't see. And even when we started to pop, we were still uploading products and still adding things and still putting more product photos on and more content and all of that sort of stuff, which I think goes a little bit unnoticed when people look at the headline figures. And just, it's putting ourselves in that position to have the luck and the momentum carrying forward.
Yeah. I think one thing as well, just to mention there, I do remember, we were like, we need to just make loads of TikToks, and we need to keep making videos, and we didn't have the time to just constantly do that ourselves. So I remember we gave the team who were working, we gave them a target to hit, but we were very kind of like, free reign with it almost.
Yeah.
to the point now where I think we are a little bit more measured, but we're still quite flexible in terms of what people post, and the team have guidelines and things. But at the start, I think it was kind of like, speed is key here.
Yeah.
Just get out what you can and make it relevant to this and this. And to be fair to the team, they cracked on and smashed it as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was probably one of the first examples of monetizing volume of content rather than quality. So I don't think the quality was super high. It's TikTok. Yeah. But I think it's probably the first case that I've seen where it's really exploded. I'm sure there's other businesses that have done it before, but I actually don't think a lot of people out there and a lot of our viewers realise that you can explode through volume.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I think that's really interesting, especially your background, Nick, in social media and paid ads. And what would you say the sort of differences, because you were mentioning Facebook ads 10 years ago and stuff like that. So you've been around the industry, and what would you say the big difference with TikTok as a platform and TikTok Shop? What would you say that looks like?
So the biggest difference in terms of from a technical perspective is that TikTok Shop and all the things that come with it is its own ecosystem, which means that they have a lot of control over their internal data and understand, buying purchases and things like that. They can show a video of a product to someone that's likely to be interested in it. Whereas when you look at Facebook ads or Instagram ads or Meta ads, as they're now called, and linking that to a website, Meta and Instagram are having to get information from someone else's website by tracking it, but there's lots of laws around tracking in place, so it's never quite as good. So firstly, there's that. Then there's the volume of content, and with Facebook and Instagram, I think volume, the more you post, sure, the more you'll get, but also they are the quality required to keep people's attention. The algorithms on there is geared towards quality, but it's not so much for TikTok. And then in order to scale though, through Facebook and Instagram, that was where paid ads came in, and that was what you had to do it. But for us, we actually probably didn't touch any paid ads for the first 6 months, I don't think.
Yeah.
And we just did it all through organic content, which, can be done on Instagram and Facebook, but it's very, very, very rare. And it's almost like if you put a lot of paid ads behind it, you'll go a lot further. So, the quality of content required is a lot higher, and then you've got to put a lot of paid media behind it.
Yeah.
Whereas with TikTok, certainly for us, that wasn't the case. I think now actually the platform, I would say, has changed somewhat. And I think during our stint, we taught not getting lucky, but making yourself able to be lucky at the right time. It was at a time when you didn't require as much paid media spend on TikTok.
It was a perfect storm of things, wasn't it? Within TikTok?
Was, yeah. And you look at that, and I do think for anyone thinking about starting a business or anything, we did. There were so many things that just go right sometimes, and they mentioned the Chat GPT
Dominoes,
thing.
wasn't it?
If we didn't have the Chat GPT thing, we wouldn't have been able to upload all the products. And then if we didn't have all of those products ready to put on TikTok, we wouldn't have been able to have those on there. And then if we didn't have, all the SEO and everything for TikTok, and TikTok exploding at that time,
and the supplier that we'd already spoken to, and
so we geared ourselves to be lucky, and a bit of, luck came down from the heavens and just absolutely exploded our business to the point where it essentially allowed us to not relax, because no part of this has been relaxing, but actually have a really large, sustainable company, as opposed to, a tanning salon that sells a bit online.
Yeah. It's we've seen sort of lots of growth already, and we're sort of doubling down on growth and constantly trying to grow. So I just wanted to move on to sort of some motivation and success questions for you both. So you can both chip in and have a chat about them. Mm-hmm. So the first one, what does success look like to you?
Well, I've just talked for ages. Go on,
Joe.
Go on. I'll have a think while you just, what does success look like?
What does success look like to me? I think that the number one thing for me is, being able to kind of stand on your own 2 feet. So what I mean by that is, being self-employed, being employed to run your company, and actually being kind of financially stable within that is for me is a bit of a really key goal that we've now achieved. So I think green tick there. In in terms of, other things where I assign success, I think, doing things, now that we've got a sustainable business, doing projects where perhaps I'm a little bit more passionate about, and projects where I can, feel more related to what we sell, I think is a key part of the next stage of success for me personally. And then, I would like to grow the team. I would like to grow the people and the workforce that we have, so that we're able to kind of create more jobs, but also grow the company as well. For me is something that's really, really important. And then, longer term, being able to actually take a company from startup, and the process through that to an actual exit. Don't really have necessarily a nominal value at this stage, but going through that process and actually, almost hitting what I would call completion, in a way, is something that would definitely be on my list of success stories, for sure. So,
cool.
Yeah.
And Nick, have you had time to think?
I have.
Yeah.
So success. So I think we actually have hit, I think, as you said, with the green tick, an area of success. If you'd asked me before we did this, what does success look like? I think we've gone above and beyond what success looked like in that realm.
Yeah.
We've definitely achieved success. I think from now, there's a few things is that, now that we have this business that we have, I think success becomes looking further into the future, both financial, freedom.
Yeah.
Because while we are, self-sustaining, we're by no means rich. So
no.
So more financial freedom, and I don't just mean that personally, but I mean yes, personally, but within the business and whatnot, is having a bit more financial freedom. I think we'd all love to, travel a little bit more for the business and get out and about, but ultimately, you got to watch the pennies because
pounds look after themselves.
Pounds look after themselves. Then, so I think a bit of financial freedom. I think a bit more time freedom. We're all still very locked in. We've committed to a lot of projects, and we probably don't have a lot of time freedom. Location freedom as well. I think we probably all need to be within the UK quite a lot. So I don't think there's that much location freedom at the moment, but I think long term, with the financial stuff and whatnot, it'll probably give us more location freedom. But but we're not there yet. So success is probably, as we tick those off, I would consider that successful ultimately. We're here in the basement right now, and I don't want to be in the basement forever.
No, this place does get to you at times.
With a Tesco meal deal for lunch. Do you know what I mean? Like this,
it's my second one in 2 days.
So, but that doesn't mean by any means we're in a bad place. We're actually in a very good place. We've done very well to get to this point where I can sit in the basement on a Wednesday afternoon filming a podcast with a Tesco meal deal. Yeah. So we're very lucky to be here, but there's obviously a long way to go until what I would consider absolute success.
Yeah, I would totally agree with all of those as well. My next question for you both is, where does your drive come from? Where does the motivation to get up in the morning come from? Where does the work ethic come from? And does it come from your childhood? What does that sort of look for you both? Sorry.
So it's a really interesting one. I think my parents were both retired now, but we're both social workers. So employed through the public system, and both absolutely amazing. Devoted their life to basically helping other people for their entire life. So really sort of noble things to do. But never any kind of experience in business. They were both very well respected in what they did. But in terms of business commerciality, sort of a bit of a gap there. So I think that hard work always came from them, like the principles of working hard. But then actually the drive and want to do things in business actually came from the access to mentors, and the people that I was exposed to when I went to work for Batfast. So that kind of drive and always wanting to impress and always do well for my parents, but also then the the commerciality and learning new things about business and wanting to be involved in businesses and understand how they operate, how they work, how they start from a real kind of formation perspective with heads of terms and company structure. Was all learnt through my time there, and being exposed to the people that have been there and done that before and I could learn from was really something that turned that kind of initial working drive into I want to start businesses.
Cool. And Nick?
So what was the question again? Yeah,
where does your drive come from?
Where does my drive come from?
Yeah, not the micro.
No. Where does my drive come from? Well, I've always wanted to win. I've always tried to be a winner. Doesn't mean I've always won, but I think that's just naturally ingrained into me. And I think, when I was younger, I used to read magazines of cars. Right.
Yeah. I wonder what you're going to say then.
No. But no, I used to have what was it? Is it
Auto Trader?
No, Auto Trader was a magazine, wasn't it? At first,
yeah.
And I used to look through, and I used to look at the supercars in there, and see them for a load of money, and think, well, in order to get what I want, I've got to have lots of money. So part of it comes from a financial perspective that I want to be able to be financially, free, as I think we've already discussed. So yeah, there's that. There's the wanting to win. There's the. I think I don't know why, but I've always got a point to prove of why I'm the best.
Say that again.
What?
So you can say that again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's that as well. And I think it's sort of a culmination of things. Really, I think it's quite a hard one of where does your drive come from, but I think it's just naturally ingrained.
I think it's one of those things where you've just kind of got it or you haven't to some extent.
It's either in you or it's not.
Yeah, like I think that you can get people that have come from all range of backgrounds, and you can have people that have come from very successful backgrounds or parents that have done very well. I do believe that there is just in some people there is just this drive, and it just kind of comes from within. Yeah. Not getting too philosophical, but I just think some people do just have it, and some people don't.
Yeah. And there's people that have it, and then there's people that have it and action it, and that's what we've done.
Yeah.
Because I know there's lots of people out there that sort of think that they might have the drive, but they never actually action it, which is a bit weird. But actionable drive, I think, is probably where does the actionable drive come from? I think the actionable drive, I'm going to expand on your question, that comes as well through having a team of people that you work with and whatnot. I'm driven on my own, but also it does make it easier having, partners and teammates and things like that.
Helps get the best out of each other, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Accountability, for showing up is there if you have someone that's, with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for the last sort of segment, I've got some quick fire questions, a bit easier, a bit off the cuff. No high volume answers needed, just fast answers. So,
okay.
First one: coffee or tea?
Coffee.
I knew that was going to be the answer. Early bird or night owl? I know.
Night owl.
Ooh, I'm trying to be an early bird at the moment, so early bird.
The best book you've ever read?
Shoe Dog by Phil Knight.
Never completed a book in its entirety.
I knew that would be your answer.
Hungry Caterpillar?
I bought Nick a book for Christmas and it sat on his desk for about 6 months.
It's in the drawer now, yeah.
Worst job you've ever had?
I used to work in a tyre factory, and I would turn up at 12 at night, work till 6 in the morning, and all you would do was sling tyres off a conveyor belt into the back of a lorry. And then when that one was done, a new lorry would come in and you'd take them out of a lorry and sling them onto a conveyor belt. And that was probably the worst job I ever had.
Yeah.
Don't regret it though, but it was the worst job by far.
I'm actually not going to shit on any job because I don't think there's a worse job, and there's people out there that work jobs that are perhaps less lucrative or less sexy. So I'm not going to sort of shit on any job that I've had, because there are people currently doing those jobs, and for them to hear that me going, oh, it's the worst job.
Just to clarify, I don't disrespect that job. I still did it. It was
Top
just
trumps.
hard.
These were quick fire questions, Nick.
So I'm not going to shit on any particular job, but what I will say is, of all the jobs I've had, the ones that I've enjoyed the least have been the ones where the people where I haven't enjoyed being with the people. I've worked some, like the butcher's one, where I've had to clean a fridge full of blood.
Yeah.
But actually, I really enjoy being with the butchers because they're a great laugh. So I think there's not a worse job that I've had, and I don't think you should ever say that something's a bad job. But I think it's the people that you surround yourself with at that job is what makes it good or bad.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Favorite place to think?
For me, that's an easy one. It's when I'm traveling. So either on the train or in the car, when I have that kind of time to myself.
Nick?
Late night walks around my hometown, Henley and Arden, as I'm just walking down the high street.
Okay, next one. One habit that you're proud of?
You go first.
Quitting so much.
Yeah.
Quitting all kinds. Alcohol, vaping, smoking.
Sugar.
No, I'm not going to count that one yet. All of that. Yeah.
Achievement most proud of. Was it? That was
No, habit.
Oh, habit you're most proud of quitting. No, what's it?
Habit you're
most proud of.
Habit you're most proud of. It's kind of not really one, but just showing up every day for the last 2.5 years. Yeah, I'd say. Yeah.
Something you wish you did more of?
I'm quite active, but exercise. So I want to do more exercise still.
Yeah.
A couple of things. Weightlifting, because I'm not doing as much weightlifting at the moment, and watching video tutorials.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
There was a point in time where I would watch video tutorials and learn stuff that I didn't know, and I really enjoy learning. And of late, I have not had the opportunity to do that because I'm
working.
Yeah. Well, you've been doing stuff with Cursor. You've been learning there.
I haven't actually watched any videos, tutorials. I just taught myself just how would that work and whatnot. There wasn't actually any tutorials. Maybe I should make one. Maybe I should make one for some people, but yeah.
And then one word that sums up how you're feeling today.
Raring to go after this, mate. You've put the fire in my belly. So yeah, I'm feeling raring to go.
Nick?
Sum up in a word.
Yeah, just how are you feeling today?
Unprocessed.
Interesting. And then just one for our listeners, I suppose, before we wrap up. What advice would you give to someone that's currently feeling a bit stuck and at a crossroads in life? What advice would you give them?
Take action. The chances are you probably know what you should do, but you just probably haven't done it yet, and that's really what's causing you the problems. So take action, take a decision, stick with it. Think about it, but also think about it quickly and make that decision, because I find that indecisiveness is probably one of the things that makes you feel most stuck. So just make a decision and run with it.
I would say mine is speak to people around you. So whether that be business mentors, your family, your friends, about whatever it is that's troubling you, because generally counsel from other people has certainly helped me in my life, and often just sharing things with somebody not only lifts a weight, but also helps a lot.
Cool. Thank you very much. And that's a wrap for our very first episode of Shoeless. A massive thanks to Joe and Nick for all their contributions today and kicking this off with me. This podcast is all about honest conversations where the shoes come off. We're just getting started. Stick around for the next one.
Cheers, Tobe. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Tobe.
No worries. Cheers, guys.